Hi there and welcome back to a new video here in the channel. And today I'm gonna cover the WriteRange of Advanced Excel. Okay, so if you um, had to create a new sheet on the Excel, we instead of using the Write from Advanced Excel, we can use the WriteRange. Okay. So the WriteRange basically copies a record list and pastes in the Excel. Okay, so with Advanced Excel, we can work with different sheets inside the workbook, so the Excel file, and instead of iterating and use the right the right action that we have that are the most common one in the Advanced Excel, we can just create the lists and use the WriteRange. Okay, so let me explain you here in the managed dependencies. So if you go here in the Advanced Excel and you search for write, you're going to have the cell write. Okay, so this is just pretty simple. We select the cell name or the cell row and the cell column, and we set the value that we want to insert in that cell name. Okay, but we also have the right range. Okay, so writes a data set to a range of cells. So basically that's what I told you. Okay, so he copies a data set. In this case it will be an object. Okay, but that object can be before it is converted, we can create a record list that will have the data that we want to show on the Excel. Okay, so let me show you. So let's tick the checkbox and let's apply. Okay, so let me create or get a resource here. That's one that I was creating today. Let's see. Is being used in another application. Okay, let me just get this and let's first save as XLXX because Advanced Excel only works with this data type and not CSV. Okay, so let's save and let's close. And right now let's import again. And now we have the correct formats. There we go. So we have the Excel here. So the reason I'm doing this, I'm getting this, is because I want to create a new sheet here. So I want to cover, to create a new sheet and also create the record list and copy and paste inside the Excel. Okay. So let's do that. So I'm going to use Advanced Excel here just to test this with the button. Okay, and that button. Before, let me just change the name. Okay, so let's change to WriteRange test. Okay, and let's go to the action. And before we continue, we need to create server action because we need to have all the data ready in here in server action, not in the client, because we cannot do that in a client action. So let's say WriteRange test. And right now, what we need to do first is to get the maybe I do not have here. Maybe I need to get it. Yeah. So let's open the workbook. So let me check. We have an action for this workbook. So we have, yeah, the open. So let's see, we have the file name, the binary data, and let's see. Oh, okay. I guess we can just use this one. Yeah, we can use this one. The workbook open binary data. Okay. So let's use this one. Okay. And let's get the resource file that we added. Okay. And what I'm doing here is just open the file that I already uploaded in the resource folder and receive the workbook, which is the object. And with this, I can start working and manipulate the data that I'm gonna have in the Excel file. Okay. So after this, I want to create a new sheet. Okay, because in the current Excel file, I just have one. So let's create a new one. So we can use the head sheet. Okay, so let's use this one. Okay, so let's use the head sheet. And the workbook will be the one that it is coming from this action. The worksheet name is the name that we want to give to the sheet that we are creating. So let's say test. And the worksheet here, let me see the worksheet object that you want to add. Yeah, so currently I do not have anything to add currently. So let's just use null object. Okay. So just by doing these two, we are opening the binary data and we are adding a new sheet. After that, we need to use the worksheet select. I think it's this one. I think it's this one. Let me check. So yeah, exactly. So because we created a new sheet, we need to select the sheet that we want to add the data. Okay. So the workbook is the same, but right now we have a new sheet. So let's select that one. So the worksheet index in this case will be the second one. Okay. So the first one is the one that we have in our Excel file, and the second one, it will be the one that we created, which will be the text. Also, we can just copy and paste this in here in the name, but I know that the second sheet, that's the one that I want to add the data, so this will work as well. So after that, I want instead, let me show you. So instead of using the cell right in order to set the value in each column, record, and so on, and probably I need to iterate a list, we have a pretty different strategy, and it is more optimized. It has better performance, which is with the WriteRange. Okay, but I think you are familiar with the cell right. This is very common to use. But the WriteRange, I think most of the people don't understand how this works. Okay, so let's create a local variable. Okay, but in this case, the WriteRange in the background, it doesn't work with a simple local variable. So what I mean by this, I mean, imagine that you have a list with a text, let's say, and you just want to create a list and add the values in there. It will not work. So Outsystems built this, or the people behind of the Advanced Excel created this, and we need to create a structure first, because if we not create this, it will not work. Okay, I guarantee you that, because I already created that. I already tried that and it didn't work. So let's set here test new sheet. Okay, and in here, so let's say what we want. So let's use the I don't know, let's just use name, and let's use comment. Okay, so we have these two attributes, and right now in here we need to select the one that we created. Okay, we need to select the test new sheet. Let me try to. Okay, so that's what we're going to have here, but we want to have a list because we want to add several records, not just one. And for that reason, we need to create a record list. Okay, so here it comes the tricky part. If you create a list, it will not work as well. This function is only it will only going to work if we use record list. Okay, so just keep in mind this. So we select record, and after that we select list. I guess, yeah. So here we have the structure that's mandatory to create this in order to use the WriteRange. Okay, and also the data type must be the structure with the record list. If you use a list, it will not work as well. Okay, just this is very important. So after that, let's just create a dummy records here. I think I can use the list append all. Yeah, can use the list append all. And in the list append all, so let's select the list that we want to add the values. Why it's not here? Sorry, they shouldn't be here. It's in here. We are using the server action. My mistake. Okay, so let's go here, select the one, and let's add two records. So the name it can be Pedro, my name. The comment can be this is the first record. And here we can just say that this is the second record, and here can set the name as cadet. Okay, so by doing this, we're going to create values in this record list, and the list append all. If we do not use the WriteRange, we need to iterate this. Imagine that this is an aggregate, and use the write this function, the write, the cell write, but it is not very optimized. So in order just to simply add one thing and everything is done in the Excel, you must use the cell write range. Okay, so let's drag and drop this here. So what he asks us is the worksheet that we want to use. So in this case, it will be this one, worksheet select worksheet. That's the one that we selected here. After that, the row starts. So I want to start from the first one and column with the first one as well. And the data set, as we can see here, the required type is object. Okay, and as you can see also in the description, we have data to write. Okay, so what he will do is just to copy the record list inside the Excel in the sheet that we select. Okay, but if I try to use, I can see that I have the worksheet and the workbook, but that's nothing that I want to. That's that's not the option that I want to select. I want to select what it comes up here. Okay, so what we can do is just go here in the user function, not here, built-in functions. Sorry, and we can go to, I think it is, no, it's not format, data conversion. I guess it's data conversion, yeah. And we select, I think it is, yeah, I think it is two objects. Let's see, so converts, I guess it's this. So we need to use the two objects, that's the function, to create, so input parameter, okay, using function. Okay, so let me try to use the list. Yeah, exactly. So two objects, it means that he's going to grab the variable that we want to convert to object. That's pretty much that. So in this case, it's the list that we are creating in the list append all. Okay, so just keep in mind this is the only function that we have to create our objects in Outsystems. So by doing this, we're going to have the new worksheet. We are selecting the worksheet, that's the correct one, that's the second one, and we are converting the list to an object. Okay, so after that, let's get the binary in order to end this. So workbook get binary data. The workbook is just the one that we have here, that we are opening, and right now we need to retrieve the binary. Okay, so we have the binary here, so let's assign. Let's select binary and the binary that we have here. After that, we can go here to the button click, drag and drop this, and we're going to use the download because we want to download the Excel to see how it returns. So the file content will be the binary, and file name let's set as test.xlsx. Okay, so let's try it. Okay, so let's see our result. So let me open first the Excel that we have. So we have these 4 records, reference with form item and so on. So we want to create a new sheet and add the values there. So let's see how, if we are doing this as expected. Okay, so now we have two sheets. That's brilliant. That's what we wanted. We still remain the data from the first sheet, and the second one, as we can see, we also have the values here. Okay, we have Pedro, Cadet, and this is the first record, and this is the second record. Okay, of course, in order to create the column names, you need to use the right one, the cell right. Okay, you need to use the, let me get that. So you need to use the cell right because the list doesn't have the column names. Okay, so it has, but the WriteRange doesn't do that. Okay, but it helps a lot instead of iterating which can takes which can take a long time. Imagine that you have like 10,000 records. Doing for each, it will take a long time. Okay, that's not good for performance. But also I think we can do that. So true to include the headers index or default value to be false. Huh. Maybe we can export this in the headers. Let's see. I didn't check that. So we have the label name and we have the comments. Oh, maybe we can also do that. So let's see. So default value is false. Let's use the true. Maybe it works. That's a new discovery for me as well. So let's try with this. I think we can do as well with the true in here in the export add headers. I think what he will do is to get the label and not the name. I think he will get the label. But let's see. Let's see what we have. So let's close this and let's open. Let me refresh. Let's download again. Okay, so let's go here. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we do not need the cell, right? We do not need that. So with the right range, it's more than enough. So we can grab the list that we have, imagine the like an aggregate, convert to a structure. You need to create to convert to structure. Also in the local variable, use as a record list, and after that just needs to list append all and use the cell right with the export headers. And keep in mind that what he'll going to get, it will be the label and it will not be the name. I'm sure about that. I didn't try it, but I'm sure that in this case it is the same name, but I'm 99% sure that he'll get the label. Okay, so this is very powerful when you deal with long lists and you don't need to iterate everything because it is a mess, and it saves you time to develop. It saves the person that is downloading the file as well, and just use the right range. Okay, if you are working with advanced Excel, you must use this probably. Okay, hope you learned something today regarding the advanced Excel. Please subscribe to the channel and I'll see you in the next video.